There's something you keep putting off. You know exactly what it is. It's not some vague idea, not some distant dream. It's right there, sitting in the back of your mind like a silent witness to your delay. Maybe it's the message you never sent, the business you never started, the move you kept saying you'd make next year. Or maybe it's that version of yourself you promised you'd become. You think you're just waiting, but what you're really doing is letting time make the decision for you. Let me ask you something. When did not today become your default setting? You tell yourself it's about timing, about preparation, about getting your life in order. But deep down, you know it's fear. Fear of change, fear of failure, fear of what it means if you actually try and it doesn't work out. But have you ever thought about what it means if you never try? What does that say about your life? Because here's the truth. That thing you keep putting off, that's not a task. It's not a side quest. It's your life. It's the unlived version of you. The one buried beneath your excuses, your distractions, your carefully constructed delays. And every time you scroll past it, sleep through it, or rationalize it away, you're not just postponing a task. You're postponing who you could be. And the clock? It doesn't care about your reasons. It just keeps moving. Let me tell you something most people never realize. How you do one thing is how you do everything. You think you're only avoiding one phone call, one workout, one idea you had at 2 a.m. and swore you'd start someday. But no, what you're avoiding is momentum. What you're postponing is transformation. You think it's just a delay. It's not. It's a pattern. And patterns are powerful. They carve rivers out of stone. They build a life, or they bury one. Because if you can ignore the most important thing you know you should be doing, what else are you willing to let slip? That relationship you haven't fixed? That dream you never gave a real chance? That inner voice, the one that's been whispering for years that you're meant for more? You've gotten good at pretending you don't hear it. You fill your day with noise. You scroll. You binge. You numb. You say you're busy, but the truth is you're avoiding silence. Because in the silence, you'd hear the truth. And you're not sure you're ready for that. Because the truth, it says you've been lying to yourself. It says that version of you that you keep envisioning, the strong, focused, fearless one, they're not out of reach. They're just on the other side of the action you keep putting off. And you know it. You know it every time you go to bed with that pit in your stomach. That little ache that says, you could have done more today, and you didn't. It's not laziness. It's grief. It's mourning for the time you'll never get back, for the courage you had and didn't use, for the words you swallowed, for the risks you labeled unrealistic, because they made you feel something dangerous. Hope. But hope isn't the enemy. Hope is the test. Can you believe in a version of your life you've never seen? Can you trust your inner voice more than the opinions of people who don't even know you anymore? Because here's the thing most people don't want to accept. Comfort is not your friend. It's a beautiful, slow, suffocating poison. It will keep you warm while your dreams die quietly in the next room. It will hand you excuses wrapped in logic. It will convince you that you're just being realistic. But realistic never built anything worth remembering. And I want you to hear this like I'm sitting across from you right now. You will never regret taking the leap. You'll regret standing on the edge for years until the opportunity is gone. You'll regret becoming a stranger to your own potential. You'll regret living a life that made sense to everyone, except you. And the worst part? No one will ever know who you could have been, except you. That's the kind of pain that shows up in quiet moments. When you're alone, when your phone's off, when the noise fades, and the weight of your unrealized life finally breaks through. But that pain can be power. If you let it, if you stop running from it, if you face it, and finally do the thing you've been avoiding, not perfectly, not all at once, but today, just once. Write the first sentence, book the ticket, make the call, record the video, sign up for the class, take the risk, say the thing. Because that moment, that one action, it's not small. It's the opening scene of the life you were meant to live. You keep thinking you'll have another chance. You really believe there will be a perfect moment, that life will somehow pause and give you a sign, that one day you'll wake up with the motivation, the clarity, the confidence to finally do it. But here's what no one tells you. The moment you're waiting for is already gone. It came, it passed, and you were too busy doubting yourself to notice. And it keeps happening, over and over again. The idea you had in the shower, the message you felt brave enough to send until you reread it, the walk you were supposed to take, the new path you almost chose, but didn't. What you don't realize is that time isn't just ticking, it's taking. Every second that slips away is a second you don't get back, not one of them. And the tragedy? You won't feel it until later, because time is subtle. It doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it just moves, quietly, steadily, mercilessly. One day you'll sit with yourself, and you'll feel the outline of the life you didn't live. Not because you couldn't, but because you wouldn't. Because the fear of starting was louder than the regret you thought you could avoid. And when that happens, when you finally see it, it will feel like mourning someone who never died. It will feel like grieving a life that was always within reach, but never within grasp. And you'll wish someone had shaken you, grabbed you by the shoulders and said, "This is it. This is your shot. There is no next time." So if no one else will say it, I will. This is it. This moment, right now, is the only one that's real. Not the fantasy of next month. Not the dream version of you that exists when things calm down. Not the timeline where you're more confident, more prepared, more healed. Just this. Just you, with the truth in front of you and the clock ticking in the background. So here's the real question. What are you willing to lose just to avoid feeling uncomfortable? Your purpose? Your courage? Your one chance to know what it feels like to go all in? How long will you keep putting your life on layaway? Like you have unlimited time to pick it up later. You don't. No one does. And if you don't decide now, someone else or something else will decide for you. Because here's the cruel thing about inaction. It still shapes your life. It still leads somewhere. It still becomes a story, just not the one you wanted to tell. And one day, you'll have to live inside that story. Not the dream, not the plan, but the reality you built by waiting too long. So stop waiting for the fear to go away. It won't. You have to move anyway. You've waited long enough. You've sat through enough mornings convincing yourself you still have time. You've wasted enough nights numbing the part of you that still remembers who you were supposed to become. You've told yourself enough stories. Stories that make your delay feel reasonable, understandable, safe. But you know what those stories are now, don't you? They're lies. They were built to protect you, not from failure, but from the pain of waking up to a life that doesn't feel like yours. Because that's what you've built. A life where you keep yourself small to avoid pain. But here's the twist. You're still in pain. You just don't get anything beautiful in return. There is nothing noble about abandoning yourself. There is nothing honorable about living quietly in fear while the fire inside you turns to smoke. You think you're being cautious, measured, mature. But tell me, when did caution become your cage? When did you decide that your highest achievement would be surviving the day instead of building a life that means something? Let me ask you something. What if this is your last chance? Not forever, not in some dramatic, cinematic way, but just for this version of you. The one that's still young enough to try, still naive enough to believe, still brave enough to feel the fear and act anyway. Because one day, that version of you won't be here anymore. They'll be replaced, slowly, subtly, by someone who stopped believing. Someone who made peace with being unfulfilled. Someone who says things like, "It's too late for me," even when the road was still wide open. And if that happens, it won't be a moment. It will be a drift, a slow erosion of urgency, of belief, of identity. That's how people lose their lives without ever dying. They stop choosing. And that thing you keep putting off, that dream, that leap, that risk, it's not waiting for you. It's moving further away every time you say, "Maybe tomorrow." And one day you'll reach for it, and it won't be there anymore. Not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't present. Because while you were doubting, delaying, debating, time was deciding, and time doesn't negotiate. So this is the moment. This, right now, is your window. This is the uncomfortable, inconvenient, imperfect, vulnerable space where change begins. This is the hallway before the door, and the only way forward is through. So go. Write the first line. Speak the scary truth. Apply. Ask. Building burn the bridge if you have to. Take the step that makes your hands shake, because that's the one that changes everything. And no, you won't feel ready. No one ever does. Read that again. No one who changed their life ever felt fully ready. They just got tired of waiting. They got tired of living in pause. They got tired of writing the same sentence and calling it a story. They got tired of seeing other people live their dream and wondering why they never started. So start. Start even if it's messy. Start even if your voice shakes. Start even if you have no idea what happens next. Because the only thing worse than starting too late is never starting at all.